It's Thursday, a Thursday that kind of feels like a Friday in a way. I don't know why it does, but we have a fun show today. We're going to be talking about consumers going back to ICE after EVs, the used car market dip, and Costco's tech timing. Can they pull it off? I feel like the last couple of days, I feel like there's stories I want to talk about that aren't stories in the show. Right, because it's like one of those rare times where like there's a lot of context, but
there's a ton of context out there. Like I don't know what it is about the middle of June, but everybody kind of woke up and started saying stuff again.
I know it was like dead out there, but we want to make room for the stories that are retail focused in the show and not just automotive focused, because we believe deeply that that's a big part of being successful in automotive is paying attention to retail. So we'll get to that. First, we have a really fun way to start the show today because we have a podcast called Auto Collabs, AUTOCOLLABS. We have a lot of fun with Michael Cirillo. There was a really special episode. You should subscribe because it's great audio experience. We had a 13-year-old on the show, Kaylee Jewett. She spoke at the Women Automotive Conference. Our friends out there at Women in Automotive put her on the stage. That's how we got turned on to her, got connected with her father, and had her on the show. So we're going to play a little clip of having her because it was just such a fantastic experience, and we want you to listen to the whole thing. But let's check out this clip.
Like started off the idea well, there's not a lot of automotive being shown to people in your school, right? Like, you've had people come into your school and talk to you about the high school that you want to go to, and then this is where you're figuring out who you want to be. So why don't you also have people who work in automotive go and talk to you and be like, there's more than just working on cars. There's coding, there's data analysis, there's all this, but there was no one talking about that to us. Because, I mean, if I wouldn't have been around my dad, I wouldn't have known that automotive has anything to do with a computer other than coding whatever goes on in a car.
What is it that you want people to take away? Like, why do you want people to pay attention to you? What are the traits that you think you want people to gather around when they see and hear from you?
That even though I'm younger, I still have, important things to say. There is important things that you can get from the younger generation. It's not just, the adults know everything, because the kids who have the creativity are the ones who will think of, the next thing to put in the car. Oh, hey, for the family, why don't you put a little net that comes in every car, in, the family-style ones, so that the kids can put their backpacks in them and they don't, move around.
It's a good idea.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, and if you're just listening to the show, she kind of looks like Taylor Swift.
She does.
A 13-year-old version.
It's a
a lot of fun.
Taylor Swift, yes. Well, and this is what I love about her saying there are career fairs. There's people in different industries sharing with why we should come into their industry. And we're starting to see more and more automotive companies, specifically on the dealership side, participating in career fairs younger into the next generation. But
mostly on the fixed ops side though, right? Come be a mechanic, come be a technician.
Awareness is such a big deal right now. It's just we're here, we're available.
That's what I'm waiting for now. I'm waiting for the dealer group that goes into high schools with tech opportunities, marketing, customer experience, hospitality, sales, right? It's there. She had a great point. She's like, I had no idea you could get into coding or tech or anything like that in the auto industry. So go check it out. Auto Collabs, COLLABS. You can also find it from our homepage, ASOTU.com. Just click on podcasts and it'll be right in there. Let's talk about some news, shall we?
Let's do it.
A McKinsey Company survey has revealed that over, get this, 40% of current EV owners are likely to switch back to combustion engine vehicles due to charging concerns mostly. But basically, the study asked 200 questions to more than 30,000 consumers in 15 countries. These are the places that really make up 80% of current EV sales volume, so a very relevant audience. 46% of U.S. EV owners and 29% globally, but 46% in the U.S. said they are likely to revert to combustion engines after they're done with this. Yeah, record scratch that one twice. Surprised the crap out of me. Inadequate public charging infrastructure, high ownership and maintenance costs, and impacts on long distance travel because of lack of charging are the top concerns that came out. Philipp Kampshoff, the leader of McKinsey's Future Mobility Division, said, quote, "I didn't expect that. I thought once an EV buyer, always an EV buyer. Basically, 21% of global respondents do not want to switch to an EV from combustion, 33% citing charging concerns exacerbated by rising range expectations. So people now expect a range at minimum of 270 miles. In 2022, that was already in 2022, it was 270 miles. Now they expect a range of over 290 miles. So people are expecting more. EV chargers, not as plentiful, definitely not as visible. They said, they're behind gas stations a lot of the time, behind retail stores. And Philipp Kampshoff from McKinsey said the next generation of EV buyers will rely on public charging much more than the current one. But boy, that feels like a step back.
It's totally a step back. Well, I love the last quote, and we've been talking about this a lot, that the next swath of EV buyers does not have EV charging access at their home, right? Yeah. Out front of the place.
Younger,
right?
Less established. Yeah.
The other piece of this that I think is really interesting, and I hadn't even thought of this, is the mileage range expectation. When you put in hybrids into the market, and you go from having, a car that has 300 miles of range to a van has 570 miles of range if I'm going on a long trip.
That's a long trip.
That thing, you can go, we basically make it to Ohio and back on.
Dude, I could go to Atlantic City, New Jersey and back.
You're done, right? So you look at that as like a new metric that EV has to scale to. Mm-hmm. It's different than maybe what was expected 7-8 years ago when gas engines were not getting that type of miles per gallon and even just miles per
tank. So we have a family wagons, a Navigator, and I just filled it up the other day. And I thought about this because I had rented an EV a few weeks ago, and the mileage at its highest was like at 260. Something was a Polestar 2.
Yeah. And
so it was constantly like, you gets to like 150 and you just feel anxious, but that's like still 60%, right?
Yeah.
But I filled it up and it was like 474 was the mileage. Oh. And it's just like, I just feel like I could go forever on that thing.
Yeah.
It's got the 6-cylinder turbocharged. And so, the mileage expectation is a big deal. I definitely I love the driving experience of an EV, but obviously like people are going to say it's going to be so much cheaper to maintain. Not so much. Tires are so expensive. Right. And when you're burning through them that way. That is a significant. I'm waiting to see what Steve Greenfield thinks about that one. Because he's going to have that global perspective on it. But even the global numbers, right? More than a third.
The fact that this came from 15 countries, it kind of blows my mind.
Absolutely. 30,000 respondents. It's not like
this is one of those like hit you in the face moments. I don't think anybody in the industry, well, maybe some people expected, or maybe they were hoping for.
I didn't expect it.
I didn't expect it based on all that.
Speaking of things, maybe we expected.
Stop.
Segue. Yeah. I think this is not nearly as shocking as the first story. Yeah, Cox Automotive is reporting a slight decline in used vehicle wholesale prices in May and significant yearly drops. Varying impacts across different segments of the used car market. Manheim Used Vehicle Index fell to 197.3 in May, down 0.6% from April, but down 12% from May of 2023. So we're getting back down there. On a non-adjusted basis, prices dropped 1.2% from May to April and 11%, but the adjusted number is really what we pay attention to seasonally, right? Things happen. Let's see. Seasonally adjusted wholesale prices for luxury vehicles, SUVs, crossovers, compact vehicles, mid-sized vehicles, and pickups were down 11 to 17%. So the luxury vehicles are super expensive last year. I remember they're coming back down to earth.
Yep.
Let's see the survey. So that's the used car price index. Cox has their dealer sentiment survey that just went out too, included 550 franchise dealers and 476 independent dealers. Basically, dealers scored the used vehicle inventory levels at 48. So that's down from 53, which they scored at last. So it feels like the sentiment's coming down on inventory availability, but it's up from, it was just year. 44 2 years ago. So there you go.
Yep. Yeah. I think that at least my perspective on just getting the feedback individually on the used car market right now is like, it's a fair buyers and sellers market. Like it's kind of right in the middle.
It's a fair market. I like that.
Right. Like there's nothing that is, too hard to get, right? It's a little tough to get inventory, but not too hard. And then from a sales perspective, it's not brutalizing the customer because of costs. And so you get this good balance. I think there's still an affordability issue when it comes to interest rates, but I think dealers are feeling a little bit more balance in the used car market.
I feel like that.
The imbalance is definitely on the new car market still. We're starting to see just higher day supply. We were talking about that yesterday. And then just, overall consumer demand and whether or not you're able to capitalize on that, I think is the biggest concern right now. We're hearing, literally, I'll hear a dealer talk about May as like it was raging, we had an all-time high, or it was terrible, we had an all-time low. And so I think there's a massive difference in the market right now.
I think that Jonathan Smoke's favorite word there, we know what it is. It's bifurcated. Speaking of a bifurcated opinion, you got one coming in hot here.
I got one coming in hot. So Costco is set to undergo significant changes as new leadership aims to enhance its technological infrastructure and e-commerce capabilities. So the new CEO, Ron Vacris, and CFO, Gary Millerchip, are focused on expanding Costco's digital presence and fulfillment offerings, so mainly in their e-commerce strategies. Historically, they've been conservative with technology. I got a note on that. Costco plans to improve its buy online, pick up in store model, starting with electronics, naturally, and enhancing member engagement through technology with over 90% membership renewal rates globally. So despite the advancements, Costco reassures that yes, the $1.50 hot dog and soda combo price will remain unchanged.
Really the only question.
Sales reports will continue. So don't worry, fam. You still get your $1.50 hot dog.
Okay, go again.
I
think we need to get in this. I want to hear the story because usually I have some thoughts on this story, but I feel like they might be colored by your story.
They're going to be
hear
colored.
The story yet.
Costco is amazing. I've been to Costco pizza, Costco hot dog. It's great. There's a lot of great products, ease of buying in bulk, all of those type of things. But yesterday, my family, wife, 3 kids, went to our brand new Costco, which we've always had Sam's Club coast, so we haven't been able to do Costco. Well,
I'm sure it
was
was
a brand new Costco, 15 minutes away. They go yesterday. They're like, we're gonna get registered for a membership. First of all, it's I think impossible to buy a full membership online. So my wife goes, and it took her 30 minutes
because of the line. Right?
Nope. She had to fill out handwritten paperwork.
Oh no.
Not once, but with 2 different people.
What?
Said she met 3 separate people that engaged her in upsell activities, both in the initial table, during her standing in line with the 3 kids, and at the checkout terminal.
Oh my.
She said that all of the people in there were clearly and obviously older than her. So there was no one in a millennial or Gen X or Gen Z age range.
Demo. Yep.
Demo. The way she likened it was it felt like she was getting sold a timeshare.
That's unbelievable. Were you there?
No, I wasn't. And she was like, it was the worst experience ever, and it completely tainted the rest of the trip because she had to spend 30 minutes just getting
and the kids thing. I think that timer starts ticking the moment you take them out of the car.
Done. Yeah, so
right, by 30 minutes in, they're all like,
not going to be that's not going to be the experience the next time she goes. She's just going to engage in like the retail experience.
What an opportunity.
Opportunity.
All right,
no digital screens whatsoever. No,
that makes sense because I registered a long time ago, right? Yeah. So I haven't had that experience in a long time, but that makes total sense that they would do it old school. Because even when you look at the registration desk, it still feels old school.
Oh yeah,
right. If you want to return an item, dude, they got that down. It's so easy. Right. Get in line, give it to them. It could be half eaten. They're like, all right, we'll take it back. See ya. Right. Money's back on the card. They got that down. But the registration, right? The camera's all like, they're still like, all right, stand there. And you can tell like this picture's going to suck. And it does. Right. Yep. Well, the CEO, Ron Vacris, and CFO, Gally Millerchip, were looking at you saying, fix the registration process. Look, the good news is it's only up from here. I think my take on the story before I heard the registration thing, that makes a ton of sense. is that you don't need cutting edge tech to have an amazing business. And I think this just proves that. It is like, I have to say, like, I've tried to buy stuff online. I've just accepted, like, I can't shop Costco online. It just is not something that I want to do. So I don't. I don't. Now they just, you know, they do the I don't really do the Instacart thing, but they have that now. But I think like buy online, pick up in store, or even like they said they're going to lean into things like next day shipping, 2-day shipping. Another reason I don't buy from Costco online. Also, the price is different for online and in store. That's something our industry could right is paying a little attention to. But I think they didn't need the great tech to build a great system and a great process that people love. The fan base is fanatical. They buy everything in the store. Before you know it, Kyle, your wife's going to buy everything she doesn't need because they put it in the first 2 aisles. It's over, man.
It's over.
But again, I think this is, we've said this before, right? Tech should serve great process. Tech doesn't replace good process.
That's right.
And so I think this is an example of that. And wow, interesting story about the check.
I'm hopeful for them, you know?
I hope for your wife's sake they figured it out. Did they at least, they probably didn't get the hot dog either on the way out.
I will say,
okay,
4 people, $9 fully fed.
All right. There you go. That feels a little bit more like it. All right. Well, whatever you're doing today, it's Thursday, right? You got today, you got tomorrow before the weekend even hits and selling part, you know, the big selling part hits. Until then, pay attention to what your consumers are doing. Care about some people. We'll see you here tomorrow.